Alright, so today I figured I'd make a small video about my journey into sobriety, how I've been doing in my life pretty much since I got sober. For those of you that don't know, I got sober at the age of 21 from alcohol and drugs. Believe me, it was no easy task, but it can be done. I feel like the young generation nowadays has some kind of stigma to it based on our values and how we grew up, but anyone that has been in their early 20s knows how difficult it might be to get away from drinking, using drugs. All these things are very popular among young people. And believe me, it is very popular because I am a young person. I'm 22 now. It's still pretty much just as hard as it was. But the key here is it's not really difficult to get sober. It's more difficult to stay sober over time and maintain that sobriety rather than just get sober for a little bit. Pretty much what happened is I started to drink every day when I was 20, asking people to buy it for me, stealing wine from markets. I would pretty much drink anything that I could get my hands on, and this sounds like every other typical story, I know. I would pretty much drink anything that had alcohol in it because my main goal is I was after the buzz, and the buzz only. It didn't matter what you handed me in terms of liquor. I would have been fine with it and I would have drank it. So long story short, by the time I was 21, I began drinking every day when I could, maintained a job, and I didn't drink at my job, but I did drink after my job every night. And basically I used it as a way to sleep, so I became more dependent on alcohol just for that fact alone. Now, I would drink recklessly, and I drank and I blacked out a lot. I have some pictures that maybe I could share of those times, which were kind of dark. I was addicted to the high completely. My personality, I'm an escapist, and I like to drink to escape or numb my feelings 100%. I never even really drank for the social aspect of drinking. I always drank just to escape. And it worked for a long time. It worked until I knew that I was screwed, and that if I didn't stop now, that later on in my 20s I would be suffering some pretty serious physical consequences. I think at my height, every day, every night actually, I was drinking half a handle of the shittiest vodka you could find on the shelves per night. It was terrible. I'd wake up, feel like shit, and basically repeat the cycle all over again. Go to work feeling like shit, wear off the hangover. By the time I get out, celebrate every night. Every night's a party. And the sad thing is that most often than not, I was drinking alone. But I tried to avoid drinking and driving. I stayed home as much as I could, drinking by myself. It was pretty sad, but I'm pretty much an introvert personality, so it kind of makes sense to me now. But I drank alone a lot. It didn't really matter what I was drinking. As long as I could catch the buzz, then I would be alright. So I got sober at 21 years old. I told myself I have to change. I actually did cold turkey. That was a mistake in and of itself. I went through withdrawal for 3 days, and I didn't sleep for 3 days straight. On the third day, when I couldn't sleep, I finally went to the hospital. They were able to get me a bed and detox when I didn't even have health insurance. I don't really think anyone necessarily needs detox unless it's specifically to detox yourself off a substance that you know you're going to be physically withdrawing from. In my case, alcohol was pretty bad. I drank for 2 years straight every day, and I suffered pretty heavily for a period of about 4 days. But after that, it was pretty much smooth sailing. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew that I didn't want to drink ever again because I just couldn't handle it. There's no real stopping. I have to have it every day. I have to make sure I have it. And if I don't have any and the stores are closed, I would get all freaked out and then try and figure out ways how I could get booze to be okay for the night. Long story short, I got sober at 21. I'm almost 23 now. Life has dramatically improved, yet there are negative consequences from my use, resulting pretty much after. Post-acute withdrawal syndrome from alcohol, which is basically long term. After you stop using, you go through these kind of mental cognitive defects, depression, anxiety, things that come back after you stop drinking, they'll be pretty apparent. So now I've been sober for 13 months at the age of 22. It hasn't been easy, but also I wouldn't have it any other way, because I don't want to feel like shit like I did then every single day, chasing the bottle. It's just a vicious cycle. It never ends. It only ends if you want it to end. You yourself have the power within you to change. And that's where I began progressing. My life isn't perfect now. It isn't necessarily peaches and cream. Hell, I could drink tomorrow, I could drink today if I wanted to, but I just don't feel like it is necessary for me to drink. And also, having some kind of support is helpful when you're entering sobriety, whether it be friends or family. Things like AA, NA can be helpful, although I don't affiliate with any of those outside programs. I tend to get more help online through forums and stuff like that. With any amount of willpower, if you want to do it, you can do it. Quitting booze was not easy. I think the hardest part was going through the withdrawal. But after that, it is kind of just smooth sailing, and you kind of just have to stay focused on the main goal, which is to never drink again. In which case, if you are thinking about drinking, you have to be ready to sit yourself down and say to yourself, am I ready to never take a drink again? Am I ready to actually change my life for the better? Am I ready to just cut this one thing out that could save my life later on down the line? These are the things you have to think about when you're young, if you are an alcoholic or an addict. Once you do that, though, it is smooth sailing. You know, things get rough and it's not entirely easy. Once the rough patches are over, the good times are good. One of the things about sobriety now is that I can actually remember. I have clear memories of everything that I do now. You're not blacking out, you're not pissing the bed. I never threw up, but I was always pissing the bed. It sucked. Sobriety from alcohol can be done. It takes a driven, motivated person to be able to change that lifestyle young. As you get older, as the years pile on, you're gonna start to experience more negatives from alcohol in terms of your body and the damage that you're doing, because let's face it, alcohol is a poison and it's not good for humans to consume in excess. Alright, so that's all. I just wanted to share my story about sobriety and getting sober at a young age. It's not easy being someone in early 20s trying to get sober while everyone's out at the bar, but honestly I wouldn't have it any other way. The way I look at it is I already had my fun when I was late teen, early 20s. Now it's time to actually start living life rather than becoming a slave to a bottle of liquid that you consume every day. So that's all. I hope this message kind of got out to someone. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below and I'll get back to you. If you want to send me a message too, I'll give you my Facebook link. If you are struggling with alcohol addiction and need someone to talk to, and if maybe you feel afraid about reaching out publicly to someone else, you can always send me a message and I'll contact you, and hopefully you can win this addiction yourself, because it's possible. Anything, if you set your mind to it, is possible. Alright, that's all. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.